And very early on, Cirrus, when she first meets one of the Fae, Everlane, she's like, but where are your wings? And Everlane looks at her like she's crazy, and she's like, we haven't had wings for like over 1,000 years. Hi, I'm Ashley, and welcome to my channel and to the start of another reading vlog. So in today's video, I am going to be reading Quicksilver by Callie Hart. And this is very much a mood reading decision because I just found out about this book last week. Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte was reading this in one of her reading vlogs, and she was very much enjoying it. And then just yesterday I watched another vlog where someone read this book and gave it 5 stars. So then I was even more intrigued, so I went onto Amazon and searched for it, and I found it, and I found out it just came out in June, but it's already a bestseller in their Enemies to Lovers romance ebooks, and it already has 8,901 ratings on Amazon. So I'm now like super intrigued, and I need to read this right away, and I don't really know much about it. I know it's a romantasy. I'm just super intrigued, so I decided I need to read it right now. So today is actually the perfect day for reading because it's a rainy day, although unfortunately I do have to go to work this afternoon, but I figured I could at least start this vlog and start reading this book. So I'm first going to grab some lunch, and then I am going to hop right on into Quicksilver. There is a map. Ooh, I really like the dedication. So it says, for those who live their nightmares so that others may have their dreams. Oh, we also have a pronunciation guide, which I really appreciate because with fantasy books, I always don't know how to say someone's name. And I always try to like look it up, but I feel like sometimes even trying to look it up on the internet doesn't always help me, and then I just feel really awkward because I'm like, what if I'm pronouncing their names wrong this entire time? So I just really appreciate that we have a pronunciation guide here. Hi, so I am back with an update. It's like a week later, and I have made it to chapter 18 in Quicksilver. So I'm on page 281, and my Kindle tells me I'm about 42% through, and I have about 335 more pages to go because the book is 670 pages. And so far, I am really enjoying this. I can already see, like, just in like the first 100 pages why everyone is talking about this book and why everyone is loving it. So right from the beginning, this book is super exciting and action-packed because it starts off with our main character, Cirrus, stealing something from one of the queen's guards. And so Cirrus, she lives in a world that is ruled by this queen who is pretty much all-powerful, corrupt, and apparently immortal. And Cirrus lives in a part of the city that is quarantined from the rest of the city, and she's actually not supposed to leave that area, but she does. And everyone who lives there, they're kind of just struggling just to make it through each day, and there's not enough food, there's not enough water, and they're just like living in filth, and it's pretty much the area of the city where the queen sends people that she wants to die. And so Cirrus ends up stealing something from the queen's guard because she believes that with this item she can take it and sell it and get more food and water for herself and her brother. But this comes back to bite her because it ends up with her being hunted down and dragged to the queen for an audience, and that audience with the queen ends up with the queen ordering her death, and she does almost die, but then she is rescued by a mysterious stranger, and this stranger turns out to be a fairy named Kingfisher, and the two of them end up traveling back to his world, the fairy realm, and the way they get there is through this puddle of silver liquid, Quicksilver. And the thing about the Quicksilver are that there are pools of Quicksilver all over the different worlds, and they are used to travel through the different worlds. But the thing is, they had been sealed by the queen of Cirrus's world, the queen of the humans, but Cirrus ends up activating them, and not just any person can activate the Quicksilver. The only people who can do it are alchemists, and so it's revealed that she is an alchemist. And so then she finds herself in the fairy world, and she is then dragged before their king, and he is also not a very nice person. He wants her to reactivate all of the Quicksilver portals around their realm so that the fairies will be able to travel between the worlds again, because being cut off from the other worlds has really hurt them. And Kingfisher, the fairy that had saved her, is tasked with helping her figure out how to use her alchemist powers and how to activate the Quicksilver. And so our story goes from there. And like I said earlier, I am really enjoying it. I really like our main character, Cirrus. She is very much feels like a Sarah J. Maas main character, where she is both strong physically and mentally, but also still has like some demons that she deals with. And she reminds me a lot of Selena from Throne of Glass or Bryce from Crescent City. She has been trained in combat, so she knows how to protect herself and how to use a blade. And she also cares very much about her family, which is mainly her brother and another character named Elroy, who is like a father figure to her. And then Kingfisher, our love interest, I'm really liking him as well. He is very much like the tortured soul type of character. He is not nice at all in the beginning of the book. He is mean, but you can also see like he acts that way because of something that happened to him in the past. And sometimes he just says the most outrageous things, and I'm pretty sure he's doing it on purpose just to get like a rise out of the people around him. But there's other people around him, like his sister and his best friend. You get to see that he used to be a really nice and kind person, and he now is kind of not a very nice person because of what happened to him. And in the past, the king forced him to travel through the Quicksilver without wearing a relic, and you want to wear a relic when you travel through the Quicksilver. Otherwise, the Quicksilver will infect your mind. And so that's what happened to him, and a healer was able to get most of the Quicksilver out of him, but he's still left with a little bit of it in his eye, and pretty much it is slowly driving him insane. And I already really like the banter between him and Cirrus, and right from the beginning, he already gave her a nickname, and that nickname is O'Shalif. And it's a type of butterfly, and they are known for hatching and living and dying all in a single day. So he gives her that nickname, obviously, to like push her buttons and spite her. But I feel like at some point it's going to become like an endearing nickname. Oh, and Cirrus has already befriended a white fox, and she named him Onyx. And now he is just her animal companion now that's going with her everywhere, which I just found super adorable. And then another thing I'm really enjoying so far too is the world building. I like how the book is just like gradually building the world around you. Like it's just slowly over the chapters giving you like small pieces of information about the world. And so it hasn't felt overwhelming at all. And I feel like I can just gradually absorb it, and it feels very natural. And one of the things I'm liking about the world building is the lore behind the Fae in this book is a little different from what I'm usually used to. And very early on, Cirrus, when she first meets one of the Fae, Everlane, she's like, "But where are your wings?" And Everlane looks at her like she's crazy, and she's like, "We haven't had wings for like over 1,000 years." So I thought that was very interesting that these fairies don't have wings. And at one point, Kingfisher is trying to scare Cirrus by showing her his fangs, because the fairies have enlarged and sharp canines, and they have those because of a curse from long ago where they were cursed to drink the blood of humans if they wanted to keep their immortality. And that curse has since been broken, but they still have these sharp canines as a reminder of that curse. And again, I felt like that was very different and out of the ordinary from anything I've ever read about before about fairies. So yeah, those are all my thoughts for now. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding it a lot of fun so far. I'm loving the interactions between Cirrus and Kingfisher. And their romance definitely has the enemies to lovers vibes going on, and I can't wait to see how it develops more. guys, so it is a few days later and I am back with an update on Quicksilver. So I am almost done with this book. I have 1 hour and 53 minutes left and a little over 100 pages to read. And I had to stop myself from binging the rest of this book because I wanted to come on and give another update before I finished it. So during my last update, I was enjoying the book, but I wasn't quite at the level where I was loving it yet. And now I'm loving this book. I am beyond loving it. It's most likely going to be a 5-star read for me unless something really bad happens in these last 100 pages. And it's no surprise that the romance is definitely my favorite part of the book. It is a fantasy romance book after all. And since my last update, the romance between Sirius and Kingfisher has really blossomed and I'm just loving it. It's making me feel all the emotions. And the two of them have gone from being at each other's throats to starting to break down each other's walls and opening up to each other. And there is a passage I want to read that really shows how their relationship has developed since the beginning of the book. And there's no spoilers in this. And it is from the very beginning of chapter 34. And it's talking about the nicknames that Kingfisher gives Sirius. And so it says, "Human had come first. Then Osha said with a heavy amount of disdain. Then little Osha, which had first been mocking, but had then shifted to an endearment." And that passage just made me smile and made me feel so giddy. And I loved it so much. And I just love that it shows how the relationship between Kingfisher and Sirius has progressed since the beginning of the book. And also, you learn something about that nickname that Kingfisher never told Sirius. Like, he told her one thing about it, but he actually didn't tell her something else about it that relates to the true nature of those butterflies. And once you learn what that is, it's so precious. And you learn that the nickname for her had a hidden meaning all along. And I just love that. That also made me feel so many emotions. And one of my favorite scenes between them so far has been when Kingfisher is dealing with a mental attack due to the quicksilver that is trapped in his eye. And through that whole ordeal, Sirius just stays with him by his side, and that just made me so happy. And that's really a turning point in their relationship as well. And then the tattoos. The tattoos, that's all I'm gonna say, because if I say anything else I feel like I'm gonna spoil something. But if you read the book, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read this yet but plan to, then that's something to look forward to. So those are all my thoughts at the moment. I am now gonna go finish this book, which I'm super excited to see what happens, but I'm also really scared because this is the first book in a series, so I know it's gonna end on a cliffhanger, and I have a feeling this cliffhanger is just gonna break my heart into a million pieces, so I'm not looking forward to that. But at the same time, I want to know what happens. So I'm gonna go finish it. My gosh, Fisher just said, "If it were up to me, we wouldn't spend another night without each other again." My hearts. Oh, they are so precious. What is even going on right now? I am back. I finished Quicksilver, ended up loving it. The last 100 pages were super action-packed. There was a revelation about a certain side character that was kind of shocking, but then again, I also knew he was like kind of up to something, but I just wasn't sure exactly what he was up to. And then when it finally revealed, like, actually what it was, I wasn't expecting that, but I loved it. And then there was also a plot twist at the end that involved 3 certain individuals that I wasn't really expecting, but they're all awful and they all deserve each other. And then surprisingly enough, the ending wasn't really too much of a cliffhanger. It kind of was actually a happy ending. Like, there was a lot of stuff that happened at the end, and near the very end, there is some, like, revelations and some stuff going on with the gods that was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen next? And that stuff near the end very much reminded me of From Blood and Ash. So if you like From Blood and Ash, I think that you'll definitely like Quicksilver. And then the other thing about this book, it's 622 pages, but it didn't feel that long to me. Like, I just like flew through this book. It really just felt like I was reading another 400-page book. And then I know I mentioned this in my earlier update, but I really like the world building in this book, and I like how it was given to us. I feel like a lot of fantasy romance books, they pretty much just throw the world building at you all at once, and that can be overwhelming. But in this book, the author gave us a world building like piece by piece, and I never felt overwhelmed, so I really like that. And I also like how fairies are like the main focus, but there's also other species that are introduced as well, such as vampires and witches and pixies and trolls. And so I just really like how expansive the whole world feels. And so I definitely recommend this book if you're a fan of fantasy romance, if you like enemies to lovers, that then turns into he will burn down the world for her. If you like books that have cute animal companions, because this one has a cute white fox in it named Onyx that makes multiple appearances. And if you have already read this book, let me know down below what you thought of it. Who were your favorite side characters? My favorite were Carrion and Lorith. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!